One of my favorite bands that I play on 2 Hours to Midnight, our metal show, is called Signs of the Swarm. These guys are from Pittsburgh. You may have heard me talk about them. Mary was so lucky to have seen these guys. I've still never seen them live, and I was so... I'm not prone to jealousy. I think it's a useless emotion. But I found myself positively green with bile and envy when Mary sent a photo of the set list of the bands. Where was this, when you were in Louisville or New Orleans?
This is New Orleans.
Yeah, you went to see Signs of the Swarm and Carnifex.
Did this win you over the way, like how Alan said, even if you're not a Kiss fan, if you're at the show, you're going to have a good time? Was their live show so engaging that you're like, you know what? This is the best.
Well,
Did they play this, Tower of Torsos?
I don't know, Alan. It all sounds the same. But they did have Tower of Torsos merch. Like, they had shirts that said Tower of Torsos.
Of course.
Like dead bodies and stuff.
It's the high watermark. Yeah, it's very on the nose, probably, in the imagery.
It was at House of Blues New Orleans, which is a awesome venue. It's small, but it's, like, gorgeous. It's really, really nice venue. And I used to work at House of Blues Cleveland. So I reached out to the GM who's working there. I'm like, hey, we're thinking about going to this metal show. You know, could you hook it up? So he got us these, like, front row loge seats. So it's, like, as close to the stage as you can get, but off to the side. They were, like, amazing seats. And we were the only people in this loge area. There's, like, probably 15 tables. Well, okay, so they said that the venue capacity, I guessed it at 500 or 600. They said it was 850. And I was like, there's no way they got 850 people in here. But they,
I mean, when we used to do the comedy tour, I think it was like 850 there, wasn't it?
No,
but
but
we have seats.
That's at Cleveland.
Yeah.
So I'm saying they said standing room 850.
Oh, this one is smaller?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
I thought standing room, it was only going to be like 500. It's a smaller venue. And I asked the guy how many tickets were sold. They said that they only sold 130 tickets. So this place was...
For Carnifex and Signs of the Swarm?
Yes.
Really?
This place was pretty empty.
Oh, no.
And so...
What night of the week?
A Tuesday. But Brian was really...
A Tuesday in New Orleans.
A Tuesday in New Orleans, but Brian was really surprised, too, because he was like, these are not, like, small bands.
Right.
Like,
Maybe
I think in that part of the country, though.
No, but there's a rich history of this kind of music in New Orleans. Maybe they didn't promote it very well. I mean, that seems unlikely for a chain venue, but maybe they didn't.
I have no idea, but there were not very many people there.
There's bands you've never heard of that pull more people than that on a Tuesday
That's
night.
why we were kind of confused, but I loved the people watching. That was incredible. Just watching people completely kick and flail around. It wasn't really a pit because there was only like 2 or 3 guys in there at a time.
I was going to say, so
jumping around.
Over the course of the evening, you got to focus on each and every person individually.
Yes, 100%. So, the bands were so bad, Alan. I mean, I can't even...
By so bad, do you mean so good?
No, the first 2 bands were absolutely horrific.
Bad like Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction bad?
No,
or?
like... you couldn't even hear what they were saying. The sound, at one point I looked over at Brian and I said, it was in between the second and third band. Okay, so we just listened to 2 absolutely horrible bands. I said, what does this sound like to you? Like when you hear this.
Not the point, Mary.
Well, no, but he was like, this is really bad. He's like, these 2 bands have been pretty terrible. And I was like, okay, so it's not just me.
Here's who Mary went to go see, just briefly. This tour is Carnifex is the headliner. We've played them on 2 Hours to Midnight. Signs of the Swarm, told you about them. And then To the Grave and The Last 10 Seconds of Life.
I liked them. The last 10 seconds of Life, I didn't mind.
Now, what about them set them apart for you?
I don't know what it was. They weren't as annoying. That To the Grave band has an Australian, they're from Australia. And this dude was the most unlikable frontman I have ever seen in my entire life. Wow. He was probably 5 foot tall. He weighed maybe 100 pounds. Super skinny, really angry face. And he kept calling everybody the C word.
He's tiny and skinny.
Yeah, he kept calling everybody the C word. But he was like mean about it. No. It wasn't.
He wasn't calling people the C word in a nice way?
No, he was doing it. But then, here's what I wanted to ask you.
It's a metal show. They're supposed to be mean.
But this is what I wanted to ask you, Alan. Both this Australian band and Signs of the Swarm had 2 very woke messages. Like the Australian band, at one point the guy goes, he was like, this next song goes out to all the animals in the slaughterhouses. That's disgusting. You meat eaters should rot in hell. And so he did a metal song about veganism.
There is a lot of...
take me out.
Dude.
There is a lot of vegan metal. There's a band called Cattle Decapitation where their entire Their entire vibe is humans are crap, and we got to save all the animals.
That struck me as kind of strange.
Vegan meal's a big thing right now.
Yeah, well, so they're talking about how basically what you said, how horrible human beings are, and anyone who eats meat deserves to be killed and have their throat slit just like the cows.
But I think that this is a natural progression for that kind of extreme metal, because those bands were always writing songs about how mankind sucks, and Cannibal Corpse, every one of their songs is about slitting someone's throat and wearing their bones as a necklace. So just moving over one and going, hey, we should combine this with Look Out for Animals.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll do something.
Well, I was just caught off guard by that. And then Signs of the Swarm goes on. So Brian was very happy to see them. He loved them. He had not seen them yet either. And I posted on my Instagram story, and I tagged Signs of the Swarm in 2 back-to-back posts. The first one was, the band Brian's been waiting to see, and it was him like rocking out. Signs of the Swarm reposted that one to their page.
Sure. And
Brian saw, I'm like, dude, you're on your favorite band. Look at that. You're on their Instagram. That's so cool. That's so exciting. But then the very next post after that, I was like, not going to lie, if you completely ignore the vocals, this music isn't bad. Like at Signs of the Swarm.
That's got to make them feel good.
Well, they didn't repost that one.
No, of course not.
That was not one that they were like on board with at all. And then I'll say this for Carnifex. Obviously, headliners are usually the most talented, but they had a lot of just like instrumental riffs. Of all 4 of the bands, they had the most like where the singer would take a step back and let the guitarist go for 2 minutes. Same thing, he would take a step back and let the drummer go for a couple minutes. And I really enjoyed that, where I was like, this is really good music.
You don't hate the hard music. It's the screaming that
it's the screaming that I
insane.
Absolutely cannot stand. But the Carnifex, everybody kind of had their turn, where he would they'd scream for a little while, and then he'd go take a drink of water, and somebody would play.
Yeah,
would he do some skibbity bop too, to show off his vocal?
No,
and just what up, bop, because they're in New Orleans.
No scatting at the heavy metal show.
Heavy metal, everyone gets their turn.
Yeah, right.
Please, my drummer, take your turn, pal.
Well, but it is very technical music.
And that's
so
what Brian kept saying.
They want to showcase that. I mean, I'm a drummer, and I don't like drum solos. So it's I get what they're doing, but no one is in a band like that doesn't know how to play their instrument. So here's a clip from that show.
I'm a scat man.
I would enjoy this.
So a huge departure from most other metal bands, but
Imagine the pressure you have to do that song live and get the scats all right.
That'd be crazy. To get it completely perfect.
Yeah. Oh, he's giving a dupe to when he was supposed to skibbity dop.
all the trolls online. This guy is singing. He's lip syncing to a backing track.
The Signs of the Swarm had a woke moment too, where their last song, I don't remember what it was called, but the singer had his little moment where he's like, everybody pay attention. I want you all to know if you're out here suffering, you're not alone, that there's plenty of outlets and you can get help, and we're all here for you, and we're brothers in metal. And and then he's like, we're not going to lose any more people to suicide. So it was like a very woke hey guys, mental health is important. And I looked at Brian, I was like, what is happening right
Well, that's
now?
also like any other form of music. That's also a generational shift with metal. These are younger people playing this music, and so
They want everyone to feel welcome.
well, no,
But
but
I liked it.
irrespective, it's not a bad message. I'm just saying that irrespective of what kind of music you're playing, that generational focus on mental health is going to find its way into all kinds of music. And metal's no different,
But especially with metal, because
especially since it's such angry music.
It's so angry.
A lot of people listen to it because they're so angry, because they don't have the best mental health. So the metal music is where they get to release all that.
And these bands
where
know that too.
Yeah. So I feel like that message has been in metal for more than just recently. I feel like that goes back to at least the 2000s and even probably before then.
I got to give away some money
Maybe
here.
not the wording, maybe the messaging's a little different, but it's there.
$1,000 from the Buzzard bookie. You get a shot at this about 30 after every hour. So once an hour, listen for these and good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard Bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Credit. That's credit. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
So your overall takeaway from this show was, I don't ever want to do that again.
I don't ever have to do that again.
Yeah.
Or at least not that heavy.
See, I got to say, and
I had earplugs in and it was still too much.
yeah, I talked to a lot of people last night at the Kiss show who were almost apologetic that, like, they brought somebody who wasn't into the band. And Kiss is in no way similar to the bands you saw.
Ugh.
At least they've got melodies and you can understand them, and it's a whole big show, right? But I talked to a few people that were like, yeah, my wife, she didn't really care, but she came with me. I'm like, man, I don't ever want to take somebody to a show that they don't have any interest in. I mean, you could have run off and done something else while Brian was at that show.
Well, but I was also interested. Whereas, like, I've never seen a show like this.
Right, I understand.
Like, for the experience, I definitely never have to do it again.
Right.
I can say that wholeheartedly. The other thing I wanted to
Those
ask.
are long shows when they
Dude.
have 4 bands. Some of these metal shows have like 6 bands. And yeah, the 2 front baby bands play 20 minutes, but that's a long show.
It started at 6 and it went
Yeah.
until like midnight.
Yeah.
The
No way.
first baby band, dude, they were hammered. They were a local band from New York or from New Orleans. They sounded horrendous. They were so bad. And the bassist was so drunk that he fell off the stage.
That's awesome.
He like tripped and fell like into between the stage and the barricade. And like the security guard had to help him back up. But the other thing I wanted to ask you about metal shows. Now, 136 people in a room that stands 800. Not many people. Signs of the Swarm specifically kept calling for a circle pit. They kept saying, circle pit,
Yeah.
circle pit. But over the course of the night, there was only like 4 or 5 people, quote, moshing. They weren't running into each other. They were all just kind of flailing
You're
around.
still trying to get people to do it.
But
that's
they-
going to be hard with 100.
So that was
36
my
people.
question was like, and this is also, I haven't been to a lot of heavy shows. So the first I had ever heard of a circle pit. But it was like every other song, the singer would call for a circle pit. And then like 2 or 3 guys would kind of look at each other and be like, all right, let's run around in a circle for a while. It was very uncomfortable.
Well, it's kind of because that's kind of part and parcel to those shows. So they're doing that at every stop. And if they're playing in front of 500 or 600 people, that's going to be awesome. They're still going to do it in front of 136 people because they're trying to feed off the energy of the crowd.
Right.
Because otherwise they're like, okay, we're up here going bananas and there's 136 people. I wonder why that was such a lowly attended show.
Well, I text
Poorly attended.
the GM of House of Blues who got us the tickets. He does a lot of regional stuff too. And I was
You thought he was only
texting-
doing you a favor, and he's like, oh, no, I have plenty of
Well,
tickets
no,
to give.
I mean, I text him and I was like, what is going on? Like, this is really lightly attended. And he said shows in general are struggling down there, that the city of New Orleans is having a hard time selling tickets to
Oh, I
things.
see.
Okay.
Because I said, I said the same thing kind of Bill did. I was like, is there not much of a metal scene down here? And he goes, no, New Orleans has a huge metal scene.
Yeah.
And he can only speak to ticket sales at House of Blues, obviously, but he was saying that the city in general, the ticket sales are down, that people aren't buying tickets to things.
Wild.
But yeah, it was definitely interesting. It was a lot. And it got to a point where it wasn't even fun anymore. And I felt like everybody there felt like that. And maybe maybe they weren't. But like even by the time Carnifex got on, and maybe it was also because the crowd was so small, it's just that's a long time to listen to metal music.
Yeah.
Even if it's your favorite thing, I feel like after 4 hours, you're kind of like, all right, this is a lot of metal music.
I'll tell you what, just to underline what a difficult time they are having selling tickets down there in New Orleans. Taylor Swift is doing the Superdome down there about 1 year from now, and she has sold 17 tickets.
Or is she doing 17 shows?
No, I'm kidding. She sold it all up.
Obviously.
But, you're not going to do the Superdome and end up with a couple hundred people. Boy, we really underestimated the number of people who wanted to come see us.
You mean Taylor Swift didn't sell out the Smoothie King Center?
Where is that?
No, she's doing
That's
a,
also in
Right
New Orleans.
next to. I know. I just love
but
the
she's
name of
doing
it.
the bigger place.
Oh, I know. I just
Yeah.
love Smoothie King Center.
Yeah.
Like, what is their nickname for that? The King or
Don't know.
Smoothie Center?
I don't know.
There was a Saints game on Thursday when we were down there at the Dome or whatever.
Yeah.
We didn't
Superdome.
go. Yeah, the Superdome.
Did you guys have fun in Louisville? I mean, we were there the same weekend.
We are traveling.
But that was your family thing, yeah?
It's my brother's 40th birthday party. It was a surprise. So we were supposed to, there was no easy way for us to get to Louisville and New Orleans. So our original plan was to fly to Louisville and then fly from Louisville to New Orleans to home. But there's no direct flights to Louisville. So we were going to have to change planes in Chicago. It would have taken us longer to fly than to drive, but then we would have to drive. So it was this whole big thing. The morning of to go down to Louisville, our flight gets delayed by over an hour.
From Cleveland.
From Cleveland to Chicago, that flight got delayed for over an hour, which broke our connection, which means we weren't going to make our connection down to Louisville. So we're trying to rebook it. We're trying to figure it out. So at like 6 o'clock in the morning, we're like, screw it, we'll just drive. So we ended up driving down to Louisville, getting there in time for the party, which was outside in 50-degree weather.
I was going to say, we got that weekend it was kind of misty and cold, but the beginning of it was real warm.
It was like 52 degrees on Sunday when we went, because he had like this party at a pavilion in the park. And it was great to see like my family, obviously, and spend time together and stuff. But like to drive down there, spend 2 hours outside, sleep, and then get to the airport at 5 o'clock the next morning. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot, but it was fun. It was a good time. Yeah, I'll never go to another metal show. I mean,
well,
it's just,
you did a
it's
nice
just
thing
too
for your
much.
boyfriend.
It's just, and he was even like, you don't have to come to this with me. Like, if you want to go do something else or take a nap or read a book, you can. And I was like, well, I want to experience it. This is a big part of your life, you know?
You could have dipped after like 25 minutes.
Definitely.
I'm going to go read a book.
Yeah, right. I'll go sit outside, not by this.
What a time to be sober.
Like,
Dude.
Like, you chose to go to the drunkest place probably in America
Well,
and go sober.
and here's the thing.
I'm going to drag Poundcake to one of these shows.
Dude, Cody, you're going to.
I'm going to have to.
There were two black people and 4 women there, and then everyone else looked exactly the same.
Oh, yeah, it's dude heavy.
It was very, very incel-looking people heavy, and then me and a couple other women and 2 black guys that they were having a good time.
Those
but,
bands are saving lives because those dudes are at those shows to burn off all their bad juju.
See, Mary, I want to go to New Orleans. You should have taken me, and then I could have just went to the show with Brian.
You could have just went.
No, I'm not leaving you alone with Brian anywhere. I don't care where it is.
Yeah.
I would have got some gumbo and, got drunk. When is Mardi Gras?
It's in March.
Yeah,
February.
when is Ash Wednesday and all that stuff,
Yeah.
or before Easter, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, good.
What is this?
Zydeco, what is this? You were just in New Orleans.
Oh.
You didn't
I
go listen to any
hear
Zydeco music or anything like that?
You didn't visit any graveyards?
Well, no.
You didn't go have red beans and rice? The hell did you do
Brian
down
had
there?
red beans and rice. Well, I didn't listen to anything that sounded like this.
It's like in the air down there.
Pretty much this sounds like polka music.
It is Zydeco, Cajun Zydeco music.
Pretty much every band that was playing in a bar was either blues or jazz. Those
Yeah.
were the only 2 types of music we heard, like walking down the streets.
I
It
love
was
blues music.
Me too. Like when we were walking around just kind of bar hopping, every single band was blues. And I was like, see, this is so much more my speed.
Of course, Poundcake's favorite blues artist is Mariah Carey. So, it's a sliding scale. Who's your favorite blues artist, Cody?
Nat King Cole.
There you go. And he's been dead for 50 years. All right. Well, listen, the
See, I didn't
music never dies. You still don't have one. I got a break here. You want to send a text, 35192, AlanCoxShow.com if you want to watch live. And wherever you are, you can listen on that trusty old iHeartRadio app.
A bit of advice this football season. All